And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another video, man. Time to begin the tier list for December 2020 of 2K21 essentially. But I am recording this, by the way, if you are curious, January 2021. So happy New Year, everybody. But at the end of each month, I do a tier list for all the cards in NBA 2K21 My Team. So, man, if you're new to the channel and this is the first time you watched any of my videos, subscribe, man. Drop a like, comment down below. That's all I can really say. Let's get into the parameters of the tier list. So we got S tier. S tier is like the unquestionable best cards at that position. A tier, incredibly good cards that are more than usable by a majority of the player base, essentially. They'll help your team regardless of what your team looks like. B tier, cards that'll improve majority of squads, or at least like half of squads to a certain extent. Guys that are incredibly good and are pretty easy to use, you know, and are good at a multitude of things. C tier, kind of specialist guys that I don't recommend everyone use, but if you do use them, they're only going to be good at a couple of things, and truly, only people who are really good at the game are going to be able to use these guys effectively against teams that have, you know, B, A, S tier cards on them. D tier, guys that this is truly only for guys that are elite with these certain players, can use them. They do about one thing really well, and that's about it. F tier, guys that under no circumstances do I recommend using in like a best team type setting. So now that we established the parameters, I do want to mention a couple other things about the tier list. Number one, only primary position guys I'm going to be ranking in each of the positions. So guys that you'll notice are going to be missing are like Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade, guys who are primary position shooting guard but are typically played as point guards. Those guys are going to be over on the shooting guard list, and I do like incorporate where they're typically playing into their actual card rankings for the most part. So just remember that if I'm ranking Dwayne Wade in the shooting guard tier list, I will be ranking his ability to play point guard too, and vice versa when it comes to some of these guys. So also I'm going to be taking into account like multiple game modes, stuff like that as well. Trying to do more of a comprehensive tier list that'll help you decide if you actually want to buy these cards or not, or just kind of leave them alone. So before we go any further, we'll start with Patrick Beverly. So I guess we are going further. I don't know, man. Patrick Beverly is not good. He plays pretty decent defense, especially for like a Sapphire card, but I mean at the end of the day, like there's just a lot of guys in that tier that do what Pat Bev does, but are able to shoot a little bit better and bring a little bit more offensively to your team. I just don't think he's above F tier. I just wouldn't recommend using him for like anything outside of maybe an all Sapphire limited run, but even then I think there's a bunch more Sapphire point guards that are better than him at pretty much everything. So Ruby Chris Paul, C. The reason I'm putting him at C is he is one of the best, I don't know, all-around point guards in the game, but this Ruby card's just a bit outdated, man, and he's really good, don't get me wrong. Like, you'll run into him a lot, especially when it's Ruby-based limited challenges. Like, I've been running into him all weekend, but at the same time, there's just better options, man. There just truly is, and he's not even the best version of himself, you know? Tony Parker. Let's see. I mean, he's offensively incredibly good. He has a nice jump shot, like a lot of people will tell you. Like, it's good, but at the same time, like, I can't sit here and try to tell you guys that he is an elite point guard and should be over a lot of people. He's actually subject to move down to D, to be completely honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of this card. I would take Ruby Chris Paul over him pretty much every time. Kenny Anderson is F tier. Dude, you can do better than Kenny Anderson, I promise. He's really not that good. I mean, he's not a terrible card. I had to use him for some challenges last season to get Blake Griffin. He's not awful, but like he's not good. Mike Bibby, I would say Mike Bibby's F tier at this point too. He's just super outdated. There's really nothing wrong with this card. Fun fact, I sold him for 10K MT like yesterday, which like if you were the person who bought Mike Bibby for 10K, you're out of your mind, dude. Straight up. Draft day Cole Anthony is D tier. I like this card a lot, but like if we're being realistic, if you're trying to run this card in Unlimited or even against the CPU, it's not going to work. The reason he is in D tier and not F tier though is A, when you evo him, he does have gold range extender, and he does register as an emerald, and he's probably one of the best cards that registers as an emerald in this game as far as the point guards go. He's actually really, really good in both TT offline and TT online. So he does meet that criteria for D, which he's really, really good at one or two things. Can't play defense, but he can score and facilitate a little bit. Damon Stoudemire, if he's fully evo'd, he plays defense really, really well, and he can shoot pretty decent as well. I don't really think he belongs anywhere but C tier, possibly D tier, but honestly, like, in his diamond form, I think he's a little bit better all around than Tony Parker, personally. Dana Barros, in D. I just think he's just a pure shooter. He's a pure shooter, he's 5'11", he's kind of small. Really good in TTO. You can use him in limited runs for sure. He doesn't have enough dimension to his game to really move up too much. I mean, he can pass a little bit, but mainly he just shoots threes, and he's very good at it, but that's about all he's got. Sapphire AI. Once again, D fits the criteria for D tier. Good for lower overall cheesing, TTO, etc. You know, he's going to be really good at those things. He lacks some of the shooting badges you'd like him to have. Being that he's so small, you like to see those shooting badges on him to really, like, get the most out of him. Like, he's definitely no Pink Diamond AI for sure. Daniel Gibbs B. I don't care what anyone said. Alright, man. This one's personal. Like, if we're being realistic, Daniel Gibson kind of deserves to be in C tier, I think. He's a lights out offensive point guard, and you can use him against God squads. Like, if you watch any of my streams, like, I take down Pink Diamonds with Amethyst Daniel Gibson, like, all the time. Like, it's nothing. I'm truly not that good at the game. Like, I'm not a comp level player by any means whatsoever. This card just has a really easy to green jump shot, at least for me personally. He's got great shooting badges, great facilitating badges, great dribbling badges. He can do a little bit of everything on offense. He can play passable enough defense. I'm not going to say he's high B tier. Like, once I get the other guys in B tier, he probably moves down to C tier, but I have to give my man some shine while I can, you know? Dave Bing, C tier. He's okay. Like, we don't really have a wealth of point guard options in Season 3. Like, Season 3 didn't give us, like, any point guards, realistically. Like, kind of they did us dirty in that regard, but Dave Bing still kind of holds his own. He's good defensively. He can shoot a little bit. He can pretty much do everything. There's not really much I can say about him. I mean, he does everything just acceptable enough. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is B tier for sure. He's one of the fastest point guards in the game. I think only Pink Diamond Derrick Rose is as fast as De'Aaron Fox with that 97 speed. He's got great badges. He can shoot in the right hands, but he's not really, like, that great of a shooter. So realistically, I can't say that, like, anybody could pick up De'Aaron Fox and be able to stroke with him, because it's not really the case. But he's one of the best, you know, rim running and attacking point guards in the game. He's got good defensive badges too, so he can hold his own on defense. He's got decent size as well, pretty long wingspan, so he's actually a really good card. He deserves to be in B tier. He's incredibly usable, and if you're using any of the guys below here, De'Aaron Fox will be a big improvement on those guys. D Brown. D Brown, just because he brings you some facilitating, rim running, and 3-point. I don't know. I mean, C tier, I guess. He's very middle of the pack. C tier is going to be a very large tier in this video, just because there's a lot of pretty average, middle of the road point guards this year. Dennis Johnson, if he has the dynamic duo with Bill Walton, like, if that is in play, he's like C tier, but realistically, he's just a defensive stopper. He can attack the rim a little bit. I just don't recommend using him at this point. I mean, he's good, don't get me wrong, but there's just better options. He's higher D tier. Like, he might move up to C, because he can play good. He plays incredible defense, let's be real. Derek Fisher is C tier. He's, you know, he's pretty good. He can stroke shots. He moves the ball a little bit. Great offensively, not good defensively. Darren Williams. Darren Williams is still an A tier point guard, especially when he gets badged up. He's incredibly good. I mean, dude, if you've watched any of my tier lists, I've talked about Darren Williams endlessly. I mean, he plays defense, he shoots threes, he can attack the rim, he facilitates. He does pretty much everything an S tier guy would do, just not at the high enough level at this stage in the game. We're finally seeing people at the end of Season 3 start to abandon their Darren Williams cards. That's how good this card has been all year, you know? Terry Rozier is D tier. You know what? Realistically, D Brown and Terry Rozier aren't that much different as far as what they bring to the team, so I'll move them both down. Everything I said about D Brown, Terry Rozier. He just dunks a little, less than D Brown, but shoots a little better than D Brown. So, Jojo White. I think Jojo White's still A tier at this point. I just don't think there's a lot of, like I said, we barely got any point guards this season. We got a few really, really good ones, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Not enough to warrant taking Jojo White out at bottom A tier. Maybe he gets dropped down to B tier if I decide to fill up A tier a little bit more, but Jojo White plays defense, he shoots, he attacks the rim, he facilitates. Like, he is like Darren Williams in the fact that he can kind of do everything. So he's not a card that necessarily makes your team worse, and honestly, he's a better option all around than a lot of these guys. Like, personally, you might think De'Aaron Fox is a better option for your team, but, like, overall, Jojo White's probably a little bit better. Mark Jackson kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. He's F. Goran Dragic's actually really solid, and the reason he's in C tier is because he's incredibly good for both limited, TTO, TT offline. He's just really versatile. He's just not as good as these guys up here, like, truly. But when we're talking about all modes and we're encompassing all of the modes, like, he definitely deserves to be up here. Jay Williams is good, he just doesn't play defense very well. Gilbert Arenas, he's B tier, man. He's okay. I don't like him that much this year, but I can't deny that in the right hands he's very good, and he's better than all of these guys overall. So Isaiah Thomas, he plays good defense and can facilitate, but that's about it. I mean, Gus Williams, he's just fast. D tier. I mean, he's better than these guys, don't get me wrong. If you had to make that decision, my man is a little bit better for sure. Amethyst Derrick Rose. C tier. He's still an unstoppable rim runner. Like, I'm not even kidding. Even at this stage in the game, having come out at the very beginning, I remember when people were trying to tell me that Gus Williams was better than him, and it's just not the case. Like, Derrick Rose still attacks the rim better than most cards, period. He's still good. His animations are just that good. Nate Archibald, D. I'm just not a fan of him whatsoever. Rafer Alston. I gotta say Rafer Alston's probably A tier, and I'm gonna keep Jojo White up there. Rafer Alston's A tier because of his tendencies alone. He has a really easy to time jump shot too. He has Trey Burke base, the same as Tracy McGrady. So offensively, he's good as dribble moves. He's basically a T-Mac clone in a point guard, but he also has really great defensive tendencies and badges. So he's a complete player as well. I used to run him and Darren Williams as my 2 point guards for a long period of time. Literally until 2 days ago. Those were my 2 point guards that I would run, with Jojo White occasionally would take over for Rafer Alston, so that's why I have him at the same tier. Amethyst Trae Young. D. He's not even as good as his other card, straight up. Robert Pack. Everything I said about Jay Williams goes double for Robert Pack. Really, really fast card, really good. They're just worse versions of this Derrick Rose right here that can shoot a little bit better. Mo Williams. Now, see, this is a really tough card to rank, man, but I gotta go C tier. He's an incredibly good shooter, but he doesn't really bring anything else to the table. S tier. Pink Diamond Derrick Rose is the best point guard in this game. For most people. I would say that there's a couple other guys that are a little bit better, but you could argue that Derrick Rose is the best point guard in this game at this stage. Like, it's just, he's so expensive, but at the same time, man, what I said about this Amethyst Derrick Rose goes quadruple for Pink Diamond Derrick Rose, except now he can shoot and play defense too, so he's even more god tier. Baron Davis is S tier. He won't be for long. I can tell you that. I've been playing with him all day, and he's really good offensively. He plays decent defense as well. He can facilitate. He does everything. He's a 5-tool point guard, but you can just tell playing with cards sometimes that they're going to be outdated really quick, and Baron Davis is one of those cards that's going to be outdated really quick. That being said, I love Baron Davis in game. Everyone was upset about him, but I was a huge fan when I got him, so. Kyrie, C tier. He's offensively really good, defensively non-existent. In the grand scheme of things, like, he's probably on the same level as Daniel Gibson, but personal preference makes me have to put Daniel Gibson up here in B tier. It just has to be done. Doc Rivers is C tier. Especially for limited runs, he's a really good point guard. He plays good defense. He facilitates. He can shoot a little bit, attack the rim. He does everything okay, so he deserves to be there. Magic Johnson. Magic's A tier. I mean, realistically, he's got those cheesy-ass Magic animations. He's super tall. I think he's 6'9" or something. Dude, I should have looked this up. But either way, I mean, my man's incredible, dude. When it comes to attacking the rim, facilitating, playing defense, this is not like the Diamond Magic we got earlier in the year. This Magic is fast. He can defend. He's huge. Smaller point guards are going to have a problem getting shots over him. The only thing that's keeping him out of S tier, realistically, he has no hot zones outside the three-point line. If you're good with Magic shot, you'll be fine, but Magic has a pretty hard time jump shot. It's super ugly, and that's kind of an issue in my mind. So, I mean, if you want to tell me that Magic's an S tier point guard at this stage in the game, I'm not going to fight you on it. Like, it's realistic to say that. I just don't believe he is at this stage. Jrue Holiday is B tier. Straight up, like, he plays offense good enough, but he locks down defensively better than, honestly, some of the point guards up in A and S tier. Like, defensively, he really is that good. Earl Monroe. D, he's alright. Pat Lever, same thing. They're starters, so they're beginning of the year reward cards. So, honestly, like, some of these diamonds at this point, like, we're to the point in 2K where we have, you know, rubies coming out that are as good as early year diamonds, you know, and then we're having amethysts that are coming out that are as good as the first wave of pink diamonds, and that's going to continue for a while. So I just don't like any of those early cards. Bob Cousy's still B tier. He's okay. These guys are all better than him. And for certain teams, Jrue Holiday, De'Aaron Fox, Daniel Gibson, Arenas, they're all better too. But, I mean, I can't say that this card sucks. It doesn't. I can say Freddie Lewis sucks, though. He's not very good. I like his Paul George-based jump shot. That's about it. Chauncey Billups is B tier. Defensive god card. He's just like Jrue Holiday, but Jrue Holiday is a better jump shot. Nate Robinson, D. I like Nate Robinson, but bro, he's 5'8". He got knocked out by Jake Paul. Like, can't give you any love anymore, Nate. I'm sorry. Just give me like 2 weeks. Amethyst Chris Paul is definitely B tier, though. He's really good. He's probably one of the most complete point guards in the game as far as, like, his badge count, the amount of things that he can do, etc. I mean, there's not very much to say about him that hasn't been said by, like, every other YouTuber. He's a very good Amethyst card. He deserves to be in B tier. Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's actually pretty good. I would say he's upper echelon D tier. I don't think he's as good as some of these guys. You know what? He deserves to be right next to Damon Stoudemire, realistically. They're very similar cards. I've been down on this card a lot, but since doing a lot of... because this season has been a lot of limited challenges involving Ruby players, and I've been using this Kyle Lowry a little bit just to try him out for limited lineups, and he's actually a lot better than I gave him credit for. Gary Payton. Let's see. He's not good. He's outdated. I don't like him, but when I've established the parameters in C tier, he fits the mold. This Gary Payton goes D tier, though. He just can't shoot as well. His stats are a lot worse, so... George Hill, he's D tier. He's still good for TTO and certain limited stuff, so he has uses. Like, I don't think any of these guys have uses. I would use George Hill in an unlimited game over these guys. Ruby Steph, C. He's got uses, but no hot zones, which is like a huge negative for him. Good card, though. I mean, if you know how to use them. Diamond Kyrie and Amethyst Kyrie are damn near the exact same card, so just a huge price difference. It's the only thing, really. Isaiah Thomas is really small, but he's like a way better version of like Nate Robinson. He just can't dunk as hard. Jamal Murray. If you get his shot down, he's B tier. Can't say confidently he's worse or better than Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, Jrue Holiday, Gilbert Arenas, Bob Cousy. Gonna move Daniel Gibson to the end of B tier where he belongs. I don't think Jamal Murray's worse than any of these guys. I think he's really good. Just not my favorite card in the game. Regular Magic. I mean, he's still a 6'9" point guard, don't get me wrong. He's C tier. He's usable. Wouldn't recommend it, but he's usable. He attacks the rim incredibly well. He can shoot and facilitate. He's usable in certain game modes. If you run into the right person with him, I mean, he can do you with him. Charlie Ward can still stroke threes, so he's usable in TTO and stuff like that. Though I don't recommend it. I'd recommend using one of these other guys instead. Rubio still B tier, in my opinion. He's just a really, really good point guard. overall really good. He's lower end B tier, but I think he's better than all of these guys in C, and I think he's more well-rounded than them as well, which is key. Let's see, John Stockton. Honestly, dude, no, he's A tier. I can't say he's S tier. John Stockton's still really good, though. I will say he's tough to rank, for sure. I think he's still a little bit better than, like, Jojo White, personally. I think he's even, to a certain extent, better than Darren Williams, depending on how you feel about his jump shot. Even to a certain extent better than Rafer Alston, depending how much you need those defensive tendencies, but he probably deserves to be right here in A tier. I do my tier list a little different. Only like a couple cards get into S tier at this stage in the game because, I mean, dude, we're in January just started. Like, we're not going to have 14 S tier cards at this point, you know? Amethyst Trey is C tier. He deserves to go right next to, like, Kyrie and Mo Williams. They're all pretty much do the same thing. Jamal Morant is upper echelon B tier. The only thing keeping him out of A tier is his lack of defense. So if you are using him and the person recognizes, you know, what's wrong with him, essentially, like, you will get lit up. But as far as, like, attacking the rim, I don't think there's another card in this game that attacks the rim as aggressively as Jamal Morant. I don't know what it is about this card, but he is almost unstoppable in current gen rim running. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Go play Unlimited right now, run into a Jamal Morant, and tell me that he's easy to stop. He's stoppable, do not get me wrong. It can be done, but tell me he doesn't get to the rim 70% of the time. Over your center for seemingly no reason, even though he's fully badged out. I don't know, but it happens, and Jamal Morant's ridiculous at it, and he can also shoot and facilitate as well, so he deserves to be upper echelon B tier. Offensively, I'm taking him over all these guys. Chris Paul, if I need more of an all-around guy, but, you know, Jason Kidd, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Well, he's never mighty, but damn, he's in D tier now. Jason Williams is B tier. He play defense. He's got good dribbling badges. Pretty good selection of Hoff badges. He shoots really well. He's got a really easy to time jump shot. I think it'd be criminal to put him down in C tier. I think he's a B tier card. I don't know. It's all personal preference to tell you if you like him more than like Jamal Murray or Drew Holiday or De'Aaron Fox. It all comes down to play style and just what you like to do in 2K. I mean, if you're more of a crossover and 300 guy, Jason Williams might be good for you. Plus, he's got nice badges. He can pass the ball really efficiently. I don't know. Van Exel sucks, dude. I hate Van Exel, man. He's so bad. Jerry West. Let's see. Him and Derek Fisher are so crazy similar. John Wall. I mean, John Wall's still B tier. I don't like him, like, at all. I just don't like his jump shot personally, but, like, John Wall's still really good. You don't really run into him too much anymore just because of the wealth of new point guards we've been getting. Like, I think John Moran is better overall offensively than John Wall, but John Wall brings a little bit more defense to the table, so he deserves to be in B tier as well, I think. Kenny Smith. I like Kenny Smith a lot, but nah, he deserves to be in C tier. He's still good in TTO and stuff like that. Like, he has his uses, man. Steve Nash, great offensively. He's a little outdated, but C tier. Fully evoed Lamella Ball. He's like Magic, C tier. Not good, but if you run into the right person with him, like, he can definitely go hard, and I think he's better than all these guys down here. World Be Free is still actually really good. Like, for what he is, for like a beginning of the year starter Amethyst, he's a really good option. Ruby Lamella is really similar to Diamond Lamella. He doesn't bring you that advantage of getting matched up with lower overall cards in TTO and Unlimited and stuff like that, but at the same time, he's still pretty solid. He's big. Barbosa. I mean, I like Barbosa, but can I get away with throwing an Emerald card above D tier? No. No. That being said, as far as Emerald point guards, he stands clear and above as one of the best ones. Amethyst Lonzo is really tough, dude. That's a really tough card to rank. And the reason for that is I think he is the top of C tier. Like, it's not, I don't think it's even close. I think he's the top of C tier. you know what? He's a really good defender. I'd be willing to say he has to go in B tier at this point. Like, he's that good of a defensive guard. Like, he rips the ball harder than a lot of cards in this game do. He steals pretty much everything. He's actually got not a terrible jump shot, honestly. Like, it's better this year than it was last year. He attacks the rim hard. He's got good size. Gotta say B tier, man. Damian Lillard's that good on offense. He deserves to be in B tier. Granted, him and Daniel Gibson should be the last two guys in B tier. This isn't ranked in like 1 through X order. Like, John Morant's not the number 1 B tier card, but the lowest ones I will stipulate that those guys are down there for a reason. Like, Rubio, Daniel Gibson, and Damian are the worst of the B tier guys, but they're still all B tier guys. Mark Price. I like Mark Price, but this is all he does is shoot. I'm just not a big fan of him. I like Mo Cheeks too. He's got his uses when it comes to all Sapphire Limited and TTO and stuff like that, but realistically at the end of the day, man, you're just not getting a whole lot from him. Michael Ray Richardson. Michael Ray Richardson's solid, but once again, there's just better Ruby point guard options. Big O. I mean, him and Magic should be right next to each other, realistically. Like, they do about the same things. I don't know. C tier, he's not really that great. He's not that terrible. Just kind of there. Patty Mills. C tier. I mean, he's okay. If you like base 98, he's C tier. If you don't, he's D tier. It just kind of depends how you feel about that jump shot. I'm indifferent, so I'll put him at the bottom of C tier, but that's really where the cutoff is for Patty Mills. Penny Hardaway is B tier. He's just a better version of like this Magic Johnson down here, and a worse version of this Magic Johnson right here. He doesn't play defense really well. He's got a slow jump shot, but he attacks the rim. He's got good size, good speed. He dunks really hard. I mean, realistically, dude, he's like a pretty solid card, but nothing crazy. He's got a 70K price tag, which I will say is pretty tight, but him and Gilbert Arenas are really like similar. Rod Strickland sucks, dude. He's not like the worst card in the world, but he just doesn't do enough to really justify. He plays okay defense, I suppose. Yeah, I'll throw him in F tier. Fight me in the comments. I don't care. I hate this card, dude. Doing the challenges for him were the worst thing ever last year. Big Russ. Yeah, he plays good enough defense and facilitates enough that B tier is probably where it is at. Like, you can get away with using any of these guys if they fit your play style. That's kind of what B tier is all about. Sleepy Floyd. I like Sleepy Floyd, but he's just too outdated to go any higher than C at this time. Really. Spud Webb. He's too small. I cannot put this man in C tier being this tiny. That being said, I like this card a lot. Steph Curry. I don't think he's S tier. I don't. Like, at this stage, he's just a little outdated, man. He's A tier, but like Baron Davis and Derrick Rose are both better than him, in my opinion. Possibly they're not better than him for your playstyle, but they're more complete cards. They have better badges. They're just overall better players at this stage in the game. But that being said, like, one of the A tier guys might be better for like your personal team rather than like Derrick Rose or Baron Davis, and that I like totally respect, and I understand that if you feel that way about some of these cards, that's totally fine. It's just like, unquestionably, these guys are just overall better. May not be better for your team, but just stat by stat wise, and for the amount of everyone that can pick these cards up and do better with them, I think Derrick Rose and Baron Davis are a little bit ahead of Steph in that regard. This Stephon Marbury, C. This other Stephon Marbury, also C. They're basically the exact same card. Steve Francis, I like Steve Francis, but he's not B tier. Like, he's C tier. I'm a huge fan of this card, but I don't necessarily think he's better than any of these B tier cards, or even at the same level. Terrell Brandon, C tier. He's just small and outdated. And Tim Hardaway is C tier, because I truly don't know where to put this guy. Like, he's okay, I guess. He shoots the 3, attacks the rim. He's kind of small, though. But anyways, guys, that is the tier list, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm sure it's not to everyone's liking, but I will be doing the shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers over the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that. Knowing my luck, they'll drop another point guard on Monday when the last season of Giving packs come out, and he'll be like a game-changing point guard or something, but it is what it is. I'll update it on the community page if so. So definitely check out the community page. That's where all my stuff is. If you do want to support the channel, I do have my tipping link down in the description, so that'd be pretty cool if you gave me like $2 or something, like whatever. I just have been messing around with my chat features for live streams, so I'll be doing a lot more of those. I have like supers. I'm trying to get like memberships going and stuff like that, but it's like way harder than I thought it was going to be, so whatever. It'll take time, but I'll get it. Anyways, like I said, check the description for all my stuff. You want to listen to the podcast, you want to whatever. Check the links in the description, man. Help me out, and I'll be back with more content every single day, so peace out.